to Storytime with Gina and Zena. Hi, I'm ZBexx.
And Covert Go Gina.
And today we are continuing on the storytelling of March of the Machine, Episode 7, Divine Intervention by K. Arsenault Rivera. Make sure you subscribe and hit the like button right now so that way you do it before the next episode starts. Because we're jumping into Episode 7 right now. Gina, where are we at?
We're starting off with Karn. Karn is a sad robot. He's thinking back on all his mistakes. He remembers Venser, who sacrificed a spark for him, how Mirrodin fell because of him, and basically how this whole current situation is all his fault. His body's been taken for scraps. His head is chained to a rock from the caves of Koilos, that arrests his planeswalking, and the two choirs that are singing to Norn are holding up his head to force him to watch everything that's going on.
Yeah, it's basically Karn has failed once, Karn has failed twice, Karn has failed again, Karn is a failure. That's the first part.
He's super bummed out.
He's kind of giving up at the moment, to be honest.
He doesn't know what to do. Karn used to wonder why he could feel pain, and Urza had told him, well, people are less likely to hurt something that screams. Well, too bad Phyrexians aren't people, because Karn is in agony. But he's embracing that pain, partly because he thinks he deserves it, and partly because it is anchoring him to being himself. And he knows this is the end. It won't come quickly. Norn wants him to suffer.
I can't believe he's giving up. He wasn't programmed like that by Urza to just give up, but it seems to be that way.
And Norn smiles at him. False patriarch, fake dad. Isn't this great? Look how awesome we've done without you. Koth, Malira, Chandra, and Ren are all being held prisoner, and it's so hard for him to see his friends like this. The other Mirrans have been captured. Most of them have already been spliced into new monstrosities. And a choir member's like, hey, you gotta answer her question. Well, he doesn't want to. He doesn't have anything to say. And Jingataxis starts to raise an arm to strike him. And Karn wonders to himself, I wonder if it'll be like falling asleep. He'd always been envious of sleep. He closes his eyes, and then a flash of gold!
Glitter! That's all I see.
So there's an explosion of golden glitter. Oh my god! An angel in gleaming armor with a golden blade! She counters the strike! And she descends like a god and has a superhero landing that makes a big crater and sends bodies flying. And she says, you will not strike this man down. Oh my god, it's Elspeth! She's got wings! Archangel Elspeth Tyrell is here to save the day!
Not only that, we get a reveal of the Archangel Elspeth card in this story.
Art is beautiful.
And as her golden glitter entrance comes in, it's so explosive that it silences the choir. Glitter Mafia has entered the building. You know, you thought Phyrexia was eternal. Glitter is actually eternal, because if you've spilled glitter, you know it gets everywhere and it stays there.
Yeah, new Phyrexia will not recover from this. And this is the point in the series where Norn turns into like a weird evil Disney villain.
Throwing a tantrum?
Yeah, she sees her and she's like, ew! And Elspeth like puts a hand on Chandra's face to heal her, and Norn just jumps out of her throne, knocks it over, and it crushes two of her minions. She does not care. And she's just yelling, you're not supposed to be here. And Elspeth ignores her like, and starts healing Koth. And Norn gets pissed. She's like, you can't ignore me. She throws chunks of her throne at Elspeth that just shatter against her wing like they don't matter. And even the Phyrexians, they get scared and they start scattering. They're like, we're out of here.
This is the ultimate table flip moment. Trading card gamers have seen it at least one time in their life, because Elesh Norn doesn't have a table to flip, but she gets up so violently that she pushes her chair back and is like, well, I'm just gonna start hurling pieces of my throne.
The good guys are paying attention. The Mirrans take this opportunity to try to escape, And Koth does a big ground punch that shoots up some magma. He calls all the good guys to follow him, and we're going to run for the invasion tree. And Norn doesn't seem to notice or care. She just throws more chunks of her throne, a horn that she ripped off Vorinclex, the severed head of a choir member. All this stuff just keeps throwing it at Elspeth, who's just dodging and weaving. And Norn just is like, "Ah!"
Laser focused on getting rid of the stupid angel in the sky with whatever she can grab onto around her, even another praetor's horn.
How dare you infect my realm with glitter? Jingataxis tries to point out, like, Norn is freaking out about one angel and everyone else is getting away. And Norn just grabs him by the throat and says, "Dissent is blasphemy, Praetor. Our will is Phyrexia's will." Norn's just completely losing control.
Jin's trying to be like, one angel is not our problem. We're letting all of your hard work slip away.
Malira and Koth take the opportunity to rescue Karn's head. Karn had almost died on New Phyrexia, and it was only because of Venser, Koth, Elspeth, and Balira that he was saved. Now nearly all of them are here again to save him, and Venser's spark is with him. That's kind of sweet.
We've come full circle.
Now we switch POV to Ren. Ren has no legs, and the weight of the world is on her shoulders. She's super happy to see Elspeth and takes a moment to appreciate her fall fashion look for some reason.
It's a glow of autumn, I think it says.
Yeah, she's like, "Ooh, nice, girl."
I see we've moved on to fall winter 2023. Great look.
But she thinks to herself, humans are distracted by bright, shiny things. She hopes Phyrexians are too. And she asks Chandra to help her get to the tree because she can't walk. And Chandra finally snaps out of the daze that she's been in and scoops up Ren and starts sprinting for the tree. She had taken a really bad fall from that invasion tree earlier, and it's really amazing that she can move at all, and she's doing her best. Koth and Balira are covering for them, and Koth uses his power to use the back of Karn's stone as a shield for them. And Ren thinks, even though that's not hurting Karn, it seems kind of rude.
Gotta be resourceful here.
Nissa booms, drop the dryad. You don't want me to kill you, Chandra. And the elf starts flinging bodies of the fallen at them. There's just no trace of the person she used to be.
Round 2 fight.
Ren knows Chandra can't bring herself to hurt Nissa, but they have to get to the tree or everyone will die.
The tree is the end goal. That is the only thing that'll make it right.
Now we switch POVs one more time to Elspeth. Elspeth feels a great sense of peace and being above it all as she is literally hovering in the air above it all. She used to find Norn frightening, but not anymore. Phyrexia will not win this day. Mirrans are fleeing, Koth and Malira are covering for Chandra and Ren as best they can. She makes eye contact with Karn, gives him a smile. She knows she has to stop Nissa, but Norn is bothering her.
When Elspeth is described as hovering above and she's such quiet and calm, the calm before the storm, she also sees Elesh Norn as such a small being now. And honestly, the way they've described the realm breaker, the tree that's going through all the planes, I'm surprised Elesh Norn hasn't looked small to us yet in comparison to the massiveness of Phyrexia.
Thankfully, Norn, for dramatic purposes, finds some energy here to actually fight. Because if she was going to keep whining the whole time, I was going to be really mad. Norn lunges for Elspeth with her claws and just yanks her from the air by one of her, grabs a foot and just slams her to the ground. Like that moment with the Hulk slamming Loki in the Avengers. She says, "You shall not ruin our moment of triumph. How dare you stand against us?" And Elspeth stands, dusts herself off, and says, "I have my own calling." Norn starts an evil villain speech, and while she does, the bodies of the fallen Phyrexians just lift and swarm around her. And these shards of metal and bone and blades and teeth, and they're just all sticking to her. And she's made a new gross suit of armor. And she's like, "On all the plains there is one truth. All will be one. Standing in the way is standing in the way of a perfect future. Elspeth looks behind her like, can I get out of here? Like, sees Nissa gaining on the good guys. She does not have time for this. So she tries to use her crackling golden godsend sword, sends a beam of light at Norn's shoulder, and that destroys the armor there and leaves her smoking. And Norn's still like, there is no death, only Phyrexia. Elspeth's like, okay. She takes to the air to pursue Nissa, but Norn, frustrated, says, you can't run from us. And this really tall, strong porcelain wall just springs up in her path. And she tries and tries, and she can't make a dent in it.
And clearly, this is the last obstacle that Norn has to try to stop Elspeth from breaking through. A literal Phyrexian porcelain barrier stopping Elspeth's sword from even penetrating it. When she tries to swing at it, it just sparks back at her. And we're like, wait a second. I thought this was easy. I thought the godsend just had glitter.
The glitter powers. The Phyrexians are like using these lashes to grab onto her wings and try to pull her back, and she's just like struggling and struggling. And Norn tries to convince her she doesn't need to struggle. Says, you've always wanted a home. You could have a home with us. And Norn keeps getting taller. Like the plates from the bridge and the fallen are like stretching her out. And with her size and all these dead body parts becoming part of her armor, she doesn't look like home. Elesh Norn is war and death. She shoots out some lashes from her hand to grab Elspeth, and Elspeth finally gets fed up and just severs them all with one sword chop, which makes them all fall over. Elspeth flies directly at Norn. Yeah, I'm not like you. And slices an arm. Norn grabs one of her wings and dangles Elspeth like a child holding a bird.
They have this whole debate while she's being held about what divinity actually is, because Norn is like, unity is divine, and Elspeth is like, no, angel and divinity is divine. It's this whole debate that we're not even going to get into, but they get into it in the middle of the battle.
Yeah, Norton's like doing all the, we're not so different, you and I, huh? It's kind of like the same thing. And Elspeth's like, it's super not the same thing at all. I think my favorite part here is Elspeth says, this transformation hasn't changed anything about me. And Norton's like, you've got wings, stupid. I mean, that's not a direct quote, but that's pretty much what she says.
Basically.
And Jinkataxis like lifts up a finger like, hey, Norn, haven't we spent enough time on like the evil supervillain grandstanding? Like, you might as well put her on the ridiculously slow platform that lowers her into a tank of sharks. Like, complete her already. We don't have time for this. And Norn shouts, quiet! Goes all rage mode and rips off his arm.
Norn has no sense for any Praetors anymore. We already lost Shieldred and Urabrask. Now Vorinclex's horn, and now Jin's arm. Dictatorship is clear. She only has herself in focus. And as you mentioned, Disney villain. This was unlike her character throughout the entire time. I don't know what turned the switch on her to just an angel obsession.
Oh, like she just goes off.
She goes so off that this gives Elspeth the perfect opportunity to come in for the final stabby stab.
Yeah, stabs her in the wounded shoulder. Norn has to let go of her so she can fly away. And Elspeth does call Norn out on her bullshit. You're right, Norn. We aren't so different. We argue, make mistakes, and have our own desires. Norn's like, nuh-uh. We only speak Phyrexian's will. And Elspeth's like, yeah, well, Phyrexia wants you to ignore me, and you're clearly not doing that, so where's your unity? Elspeth finally feels like, I'm gonna super kill her right now. I'm super ready to kill Elesh Norn. But then she hears the sounds of the battles and remembers her true priority. So she's gonna go. And Elesh Norn shouts out stuff like, just you wait, you're gonna have to kneel at our feet and bask in the glory of our creation. We're gonna have like the whole multiverse conquered. And she's like, yeah, you just want people to worship you, Elesh Norn. Power is all you care about. And Norn has the worst comeback ever. She just says, I hate you. But she said I instead of we.
She did. I didn't notice that when I was reading it, but she does. That is speaking very out of character and clearly a turning point in our story.
Went full individual. Ooh. All these flying swords come at Elsbeth at the same time, and she manages to get all of it to hit the wall and send a beam of angel light at the wall with perfect timing to bust through and flies for the tree as fast as she can. And Norn's like, "Come back here, I wasn't finished with you." But it's time to do the right thing. Elsbeth has to make sure Ren gets to the tree.
She gives a little mushroom boost, like in Mario Kart, to Ren and Chandra, like, go to the tree.
She is done with barriers in her life.
Yeah, literally no walls.
So, what was your favorite part from this?
My favorite quote was one from Elspeth when she's at the very end saying, she kind of really shoves it to Norn. In the debate about their divinity, it's past this part now. Elspeth says, we have our own wants, dreams, and desires. It reminded me a lot of like Captain Marvel in the movie, where when she stands up from the machine, I forget what the voice is called, she stands up and she says, we are human. We do make mistakes. We do fail. We have dreams, desires. We're not unified on all of this. So for me, that was my favorite part because it was a real hero moment. What about you? What was your favorite quote or part of this story?
This quote that was just a descriptive quote. Norn grabs one of Elsbeth's wings. In a foul parody of a child holding a bird, she dangles Elsbeth aloft. I thought this was just a really cool visual moment where it almost seems like Norn regains some of her composure again and is scary again, even if it's just for a minute. And it is this cool idea of like, yeah, you've got wings and you would think you'd be invincible and can get away from anybody, but she was able to just grab you and just kind of dangle you like that.
Super powerful. Did you have a favorite photo from this story?
These ones are also good. If you haven't looked at it yourself, dear viewers and listeners, they're all pictures of Elspeth.
So pick your favorite Elspeth photo.
I like the first one where it looks like she's crackling with lightning, almost like a Thor vibe. That's very cool and powerful.
Definitely, I like that one too. I think my favorite is the very last one. We get that epic battle confrontation moment. We see Elesh Norn literally wincing from that tear through her shoulder in pain.
Yeah, the
Visual.
story's very clear that it's her shoulder. It's definitely her shoulder. The picture almost looks like it's straight through the middle of her chest. When I first saw this image online, I was like, oh, so she just straight up kills Norn. But she does not. She just wounds her really badly in the shoulder.
You know, that's interesting. I think about longsword and like armor and stuff, and usually that's where you go for people to get to their arteries in between their armor historically. And so it makes me wonder, did she just go through the top and like almost get to the heart or where a vital organ might be in a machine? We don't know the makeup of Phyrexians, but yeah, maybe she just got close enough to have a pretty significant wound. Okay, on to episode 8.